Great to have you along for the ride. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Glad to have this young lady back. Her name is Ariadne Jacob. She is an expert when it comes to social media. She's a great host. She's somebody I want you to follow everywhere, TikTok on down. Has discovered some of the biggest TikTokers who you know by name, and just a good friend of mine. Ari, how are you? Good to see you again.
I'm doing great. Good to see you too.
You and I have been texting back and forth since TikTok was banned for like 12 hours. Then it came back. What's going to happen? Why is this such a big deal? And I love your insight because you learned how to use the platform. And by the way, those watching and listening who aren't into TikTok, that doesn't matter. We're going to go into algorithms of social media, on success on social media. It's not just about that platform. But what was it about that platform specifically that you honed into several years ago where you said, people can make a lot of money here. There's something about this that makes sense. I should jump in. What was it?
I mean, if you remember back in the time when TikTok blew up, Instagram was mostly photos. So for
It's
somebody to
true.
be making videos is a bit like voyeuristic. Of course, there was YouTube making long form video content and such, but it was the first platform where you could make short form content that was, just what you're thinking about in that moment. You didn't have to be a famous person. You didn't even have to be good looking because on Instagram back in the day, and probably still a bit now, is you have to be polished. You have to look a certain way. And what I liked about TikTok, it was just really authentic. And I've always thought that the where we're going is the ability to be authentic. Everybody wants to see somebody that's authentic. They don't want to see fake stuff. And so that platform to me is like, okay, this is authentic. This is like something where people can just be themselves. And that's how I saw that it was going to blow up.
Well, you definitely don't have to be good looking because I'm doing very well there. By the way, follow her everywhere at Little Miss Jacob. At Little Miss Jacob, just exactly how it sounds. Her website is also, for her merchant stuff, is littlemissjacob.com. So you could literally just grab the camera, grab your phone, do a little dance, put it up, and like anybody from anywhere could go viral. This is something you and I have talked about privately. You really can't do that on X. You really can't do that on Facebook. You really can't do that on Instagram. Maybe on a very off chance, but literally anybody on TikTok, because of some algorithmic magic, can go viral. Why is that?
Well, I don't know, the tech side of it, but here's what I do know is
Right.
that nobody's been able to copy this magic algorithm. It seems like what you look at on TikTok is served up to you on a silver platter. On Instagram, what I've noticed is obviously they didn't have that Reels functionality, the video functionality when TikTok first launched.
Right.
They actually blatantly copied it. In fact, they had some of my talent that I represented. We would go into the Instagram office and they would interview these TikTokers and they would show them the Reels platform before Reels was launched. And they said, do you like this? Do you not like this? And
Oh, wow.
basically they were getting the inside scoop from these TikTokers on like, how do we make TikTok 2.0 on Instagram? And so, but what's interesting is like, if you post, a Reels video, they asked you like, what is the topic of this? Like there was like a point where they were asking you to choose the topic. I don't remember TikTok ever asking you that. It just like knows. And
Yes.
so I do think that a lot of people celebrating the extension of TikTok may be surprised if the deal becomes that an American company buys it because according to Congress and the Supreme Court, that the algorithm has to stay over in China. Like the algorithm can't come with TikTok. And I wonder how that will work in America, like
Right.
after that. Like how easy is it to copy Instagram? YouTube Shorts hasn't been able to copy that secret sauce of serving you up what you want to see. And so, it's going to be an interesting ride. I still think it's going to be viable no matter what because the
Yes.
features are different. But even like you were talking about, how do these people make money? One thing that I do recognize is that Amazon has a program, an affiliate program where you can make videos about XYZ product and people can buy it, but it's not as successful, in my opinion, as the TikTok shop. However, if you go on TikTok shop, you'll notice that a lot of people make videos and a lot of times there's copyright music on there, right? So people are just using whatever music they want. I wonder if that is going to be regulated much more if an American company buys it because you're not technically supposed to be allowed to do that. You're not allowed to take a
Right.
Taylor Swift song and then just put it on your, Stairmaster, whatever it is you're selling, and then
Right.
that be allowed. So right now, I think it's a little bit of a free for all on TikTok where
It
people
is.
are just doing it and they're still getting paid. But on Amazon, if you use somebody else's music, like you're going to get kicked off the program entirely.
No, the same thing on YouTube. Like I've got the licenses for the theme of my show, which is "Love Grenade" by Ted Nugent. When I put it on
Oh, cool.
YouTube, they still flag it. They still say I've got a copyright problem. I've got to show them the license. I got to go through these hoops. On TikTok, it appears as though you can use just under a minute of any music that you want. And TikTok has some strange side deal with the licensors where they say, okay, you can use 59 seconds, no more. If it's more than that, you'll be in trouble. So you're right. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people don't get. But I want to go back to the algorithm for a second. The algorithm on X obviously doesn't work. It works if
Right.
Elon Musk white flags you or whitelists
Hmm.
you. If you're blacklisted or if you had a flag from when Dorsey was there, you're still not going to be seen by anybody. I am flagged on Facebook. The algorithm doesn't work there. Reels is interesting. I've had maybe a video do a million or two, but it's very rare. It's usually about six figure, about 100,000 views. On TikTok, I had one that 12 million views just out of the blue. So you're right. There's something about what they've done behind the scenes because for those watching, listening, the whole objective is when you're a platform is to have people never leave. They want you to stay there and keep scrolling and keep watching. And if they pinpoint exactly what it is they know your eyeballs want to see, you're going to stay there. And you're right. The Supreme Court said that even if they do sell, they don't have to sell the algorithm. So it'll be called TikTok America or something. But can it be the same platform? Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I don't know. I think in the Supreme Court hearings, the TikTok lawyer said China has not allowed them to sell the algorithm and they're not planning to. So
Right.
if China says no to ByteDance, then they can't sell it. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I just know that, okay, let's just say you don't care much about social media. You just consume it. You're not on it much or whatever. Most people that have a business, they should be paying attention because right now the only way to grow on social media is short form video. So if you're just posting, photos of your restaurant or whatever it is that you have, like that's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything. You have to post short form video, and that can be really daunting to a business owner. And if you can imagine like a business owner only being on Instagram right now or only being on one platform, like
Right.
if TikTok does go away, or if let's just say the algorithm is like no good and people go to YouTube and Instagram, it's going to get completely saturated. And there's going to be like walking into a room that's already super loud and trying to speak in it. It's just going to be much harder to get seen. So I
Right.
do think people should pay attention to it. And that's what they need to know is that nobody's been able to copy this algorithm, including Instagram and YouTube Shorts. And that says a lot, don't you think? Because
Oh, it
they're
does.
supposed to have the best and the brightest there.
Well, they would be able to copy it if they were the best and the brightest, and they can't figure it out. It just doesn't work that way. I'm glad that they're not making you categorize on Instagram now. But again, on TikTok, you're right. The AI goes through, sees what it is, and then I've been categorized. Like yesterday, I did the video with Selena Gomez crying, and that video's got 1.5 million views in less than a day. And the reason why is they categorized it Selena Gomez, and that's really how it works and works at its
Hmm.
best. When TikTok went away, by the way, it's Ariadna Jacob. Go and follow her, littlemissjacob.com. Follow her at Little Miss Jacob on all social media. She is the preeminent social media expert. And again, set up some of the most popular TikTokers. Charlie D'Amelio. Who's the is it Addison Rae?
Yeah, Addison Rae.
Yeah, so I mean, these people
Yeah.
that you know, Ari really knows what she's talking about and is just an expert on it. When TikTok went away, the freak out was real. But it was only gone for about 12 hours, and they got rid of it earlier than they were supposed to, I think almost to see what would happen. What did we learn from that, do you think?
I think that it's just so funny because you could tell these huge creators, hey, go to make sure that you have all your accounts on YouTube and Instagram set up. Make sure that you have, your email list so that you can keep your followers. Nobody did it. And what's funny is when I was representing those influencers in 2020, nobody did it back then either. It's like everybody was waiting for the apocalypse, but they didn't really seem to want to do
Wow.
the extra work to do anything for it. And so what I learned is that just people are kind of like well, we're going to accept whatever happens. That we don't really have a choice. It was interesting when people left to go to Red Note, which I didn't
Wait,
see like
stop. I
the
got to stop you. You got to talk about Red Note. This was the dumbest thing, and you're the one who enlightened me on this. This blew my mind because we know that a company based in China, by Chinese law, has to allow for the Chinese Communist Party, the government, to be able to have access to the data. We know that that's a rule. But Red Note is actually freaking owned by the government, isn't it? I mean, it's like a different thing completely. You have no rights on that one.
I'm not sure if it's totally owned by the government. Like, I'm not an expert on that, but it does. I think it's called Little Red Book, and a lot of people are making connections to that, to like the Communist Party in China, a Little Red Book. And anyway, it's for me, it's like I don't want to go to another platform to like. People are doing it to kind of stick it to the man, essentially saying, "Oh, you don't want us to be on TikTok because China has access to it. Well, we're going to go to this other one that's kind of blatantly a Chinese app." That's like, getting mad at your landlord and then
Right.
moving in with somebody that basically like is like, "Oh, I'll never let you leave now." It's not a great way to
Right.
go about things.
But I mean,
But like,
you're right. People wanted to kick dirt in the face of the man, and I'm here to tell you, it is owned by the CCP. Literally, the government owns that one. ByteDance is not the CCP, but they have access. So there's a little bit of a difference there. It was so strange, though, and I thought that you posted on this. I'm pretty sure it was you. If not, somebody said that they heard it from you. Literally, they've got a terms of service there where you can like be arrested if you say the wrong thing. Like if you ever go to China, they'll arrest you if you said the wrong thing on this platform. So it was like you went from county lockup to the gulag, but you were
yeah.
showing the man, right? It's weird.
Well, these apps, their terms of service are governed by Chinese law. So if you have a dispute, let's just say I think this is more of like with your intellectual property, right? So your face or any type of thing, if you're a creative person that you
Right.
do, you're giving them access. They can clone your voice, they can clone how you look, or they can take any piece of content, and then that would be owned by this company. And then this whole agreement that you made with them is governed under Chinese law. So let's say they steal something from you, like your name and likeness or something like that. What are you
Right.
going to do? Go to China and deal with their courts and try
No.
to litigate it? Yeah, good luck with that. So, but
Right.
now we're talking about DeepSeek. This is a competitor to ChatGPT, and it's something
Yes.
that I want to use. But again, terms of service are designated under this Chinese law, which makes it a little bit scary in my opinion. Look, I don't have like the world secrets. I don't have, I'm not going into the military, but who knows what they can do with this
Right.
data, and I'm going to keep it to myself. But I do think that what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think that Americans care about China having their data, or do they care more about having millions of followers on TikTok and making money on TikTok and that
Right.
kind of thing?
Well, obviously it's the second one, but here's the caveat as well. I wasn't on TikTok for a long time, and as you know, I joined June of 23. So in a year and a half, we've got 800,000 followers. I was told it was a censorship site. It was a site where they're going to collect all your data. It's bad. They're going to steal your children and all this stuff. But I decided that Facebook has all my information as well, and they squelch my reach. X has everything as well. They squelch my reach. All of these sites that I've signed up for have access to my data. I'm not giving TikTok any more than I gave them. And I've also found out the secret sauce that if you monitor the words you use, and if you say things in such a way that are hooky or that are interesting, people will stay and they'll watch your videos. So the argument was they hate conservatives, they hate people on the right, they hate America. Well, 170 million Americans are on there. And if they're only getting the left version or the anti-America version or the whatever version, there has to be space for me. Let me try it. And it did work out. So I think that people do want a bigger following, obviously. They care less about their data. Our data is everywhere now. The problem was
Yeah.
our government wanted to shut something down that I didn't think it had the right to shut it down. And I'm glad that it went away for at least 45 days, but I still fear that it's going to go away in another month or
Yeah.
so. So, I mean, the question's a great one.
And
Do they care about data or do they care about followers? They care about followers.
right, right.
Yeah.
And I think too, what's wild to me is you have Elon Musk here who basically said that he wants to make the everything app, which look, I can get behind it. I was at CES and I sat to listen to Linda Yesser, the CEO of X,
Right.
talk about what they have planned. And what she talked about was Grok, which is their version of AI,
Right.
ChatGPT. I use AI every single day in my business. And if I used Grok, if I had to replace ChatGPT with Grok, like I would be out of business. So I
Really?
don't think that Grok is a viable um,
It doesn't
AI
compare yet?
software. No. And then the other thing that she talked about was payments. So this is really interesting to me because you talk about this is what I think people need to realize. What TikTok did was they were a creator first platform. They focused on what does the user, the people that are making the content that drive people on here, that then drive the advertisers, what do they want? Okay, they would have massive parties where they would bring in all these creators that could meet each other. They would actually bring brand deals to the creators. So if you were making content on there and they saw like, oh, this would be a great one for Joe, a great ad brand for to advertise with Joe, they would call
Right.
you up, Joe, and they'd say, hey, we want to do this. We want to connect you with this brand. So they were doing all these things that were positive for creators. None of these other platforms I haven't seen that are going like massively creator first. X, unfortunately, as far as I've seen, imagine if you're a beauty creator on X. How are you going
It's not going to
to
work.
like? It's not going to work. Is
No.
Elon Musk going to tweet about your beauty brand or your
Nope.
beauty like? And that's it, as far as I've seen, the algorithm follows what Elon is interested
Yeah.
on X. So I think that that's a major problem. What I guess maybe that whole thing about bring in the TikTokers to see how they like to play with your app. If X did that, if they created Vine 2.0, maybe they would have that leverage. But I don't see I watch the people on X that work at X and I never hear them talking about like, oh yeah, we're massively studying TikTok to figure out what makes it so sticky.
Right.
And I know Instagram has been doing it, and I know that YouTube is doing it behind the scenes, but it's I wonder why X isn't doing it.
Well, on X, I think that X is an X-based site. X is an Elon Musk thought process or the topic of the day site. It's not a site where you can be outrageously creative and get
Mm-hmm.
some virality, whether it's detailing cars or doing dances or singing a song or riding a motorcycle. You're right. TikTok. I mean, I think you nailed it. TikTok is user-based, content-based. Does this stuff work to keep users here on our platform? Whereas X, you almost get the idea, you're lucky to be here. You should join our conversation, which is very
Yeah.
different for me. And I'm a news and commentary talk show host, so it should fit into my wheelhouse, but it doesn't because over on TikTok, I can tell a nice story whether it's news or not, and if people are interested in the story, it's going to go viral. So I think you
Mm-hmm.
nailed it. It's Ariana Jacob. Go and follow her, littlemissjacob.com or at littlemissjacob everywhere. I'm almost out of time, but do me a favor. Let me know. For those watching and listening, give me maybe 20 or 30 seconds. What are your best practices for somebody brand new who wants to jump into social media?
Short form video, post content every day. So that's actually what my new business does. It's called creatorgenius.com. We do short form videos for business owners. And what I would suggest, like if you're like, okay, I don't have time to make videos, if you just have videos that you've taken in your life, come up with like funny little slogans, like little sayings or whatever that are relatable, and then put that text over the video, put some trending sound on it, make it 10 seconds long, and share that every day. And if you make a decision to post one piece of content every day on let's try it on TikTok if you want or Instagram, one video every day for 30 days, I bet you anything your account will grow.
I'm with you, and that's all I did. One or two videos a day, consistently for a year and a half, and you can see the growth. Ari, great information, great the explanation that you gave for the algorithms of this platform versus that platform, very very valuable. As we go
Thank you.
forward, as we see if there's going to be another TikTok ban, let's do this again, and everybody go and follow her, Little Miss Jacob everywhere. She's worth it. It's Ariadne Jacob. Ari, thanks for taking the time today.
Thanks, Joe.
You're the best. We're back after this.
Bye.
Stay right here.